What's up, you losers? This is Nikki G from Better Commander. Ixalan spoilers are coming fast and furious, and old Nikki G is having a hard time pronouncing the names. It's a sad state of affairs when Phyrexian names are easier to pronounce than the Spanish names. And I know what you guys are saying out there. Oh, Nikki G, you don't speak Spanish. Brother, I barely speak English. Anyways, we got a sweet green god of Ixalan to talk about. But first, like, subscribe, give me all your money at the link in the description, buy some raisins, and thanks to all you kind subscribers. You guys are the best. Alright, let's dive right in here. We got Ojer Kaslem, Deepest Growth. 3 green for a legendary creature god. It's a 6/5 with trample. Whenever Ojer Kaslem, probably Ojer Kaslem, right? Or Kaslem? I don't know. Dude. Deals combat damage to a player. Reveal that many cards from the top of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. And when old OJ dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. This big idiot transforms into the Temple of Cultivation. It's a land. Tap to add green mana or 2 and a green and tap. Transform it. Activate only if you control 10 or more permanents and only as a sorcery. Yeah, so this big beautiful butterfly man is basically a forest, dude. I like this transforming into a land because you aren't that sad when it dies. Makes including this in the 99 of a Gruul beatdown deck very appetizing, man. 5 mana is obviously not nothing, but it's very easily a turn 3 play in the right deck. I love the art on this thing, it's suitably confusing. He's a guy with butterfly wings all over the place and he's made of dragons, right? Also, remember you aren't casting the creature you get with this ability. You're just placing it directly onto the battlefield. You don't get cast triggers, but you do get ETB effects and static effects. Listen, man, the first thing I thought of was sticking this in a Xenagos deck, or the partnership of Halana and Elena. This lets you dig pretty deep into the deck for another creature to cheat out, and you get your land too, dude. Or you got Rurikthar out there, he's the unbowed. This guy bows to no one, not even little Bow Wow. Creature-based decks are fun, easy to explain to new players, and they do a heck of a lot of damage. And listen, man, why the heck are people sleeping on Nikia of the old ways, man? Old Nikia G out there. 3 red and a green for a legendary creature Centaur Druid. It's a 5/5. You can't cast non-creature spells. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. This is the essence of Gruul. Plus, she's rocking 2 spinal cords, dude. She's got a human one and a horse one. But listen, man, that's enough about OJ here in the 99. You want to put him in the command zone. Remember, you have the option of putting him in the command zone when he dies too, right? So he does leave the battlefield and he hits the graveyard. And that change in zone triggers the option to put him back in his home, dude. Which is interesting because it might be more beneficial just to leave him out there depending on your board state. Anyways, man, you want to include power increasing cards like Zopan Drell, the Hunger Dominus, 5 green for a legendary creature, Phyrexian Horror. It's a 4/6 with reach. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until the end of turn. Has green Phyrexian, sacrifice 2 other creatures, put an indestructible counter on the old Zopan Drell out there. How the heck did they name this guy, you know what I mean? Some designer probably had soup and a sandal on his desk and he's like, oh, wait a minute, soup, sandal, there you go. How come everybody's sleeping on God Eternal Ronus? 3 green for a legendary creature, zombie god. It's a 5/5 with death touch. When it enters the battlefield, double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. So obviously you don't want to cheat this guy out. You want to cast him, but I feel like he's a little slept on, man. He's about $5, and I'm sure he'll get the reprint treatment pretty soon. Very neat card. Alright, this is a neat little one from Jumpstart. Runati, the Behemoth Caller. 2 and a green for a legendary creature, Cat Shaman. It's a 1/3. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 5 or greater, that creature enters the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters on it, where X is its mana value -4. Creatures you control with 3 or more +1/+1 counters on them have Haste. He's also a nifty little mana dork, tap to add green. So this applies to your commander. It only embiggens him a little bit and is a neat little mana dork when you're casting those big spells later. You're going to need a lot of those because you need a critical mass of creatures to cheat out with the old OJ. Now how about Sirach out there? He's the Hunt Caller. 2 green for a legendary creature, human warrior. It's a 5/4. Has Formidable. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if creatures you control have total power 8 or greater, target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. Look at this big beefy Jason Momoa out there, dude. We want to include some green haste enablers to make sure you get to swing out with OJ and get that sweet combat damage trigger. And speaking of which, Sirach and Goreclaw, dude, this is Sirach with his new girlfriend. 4 green for a legendary creature, human bear. It's a 6/5, just like old Nicky G, the old human bear out there. It's got trample, and other creatures you control have trample. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it, gains haste until end of turn. Aw shoot, dude. Here he is with his buddy, the big old horse Goreclaw, right? It's a horse, right? Sandbag your commander until you get this idiot out there. I feel like people are sleeping on this card quite a bit. Now listen, if I'm building this guy, I'm leaning into ETB effects, especially those that let us fulfill the 10 permanence requirements to flip him back over when he gets killed. And these are generically powerful anyways. Look at the old Avenger out there. He's making a bunch of little plants and making things happen, buddy. You got the Horned Queen out there, man. She's making tokens out of her butt. That's childbirth, brother, and that's better commander. Now, one of my favorite cards out of Commander Legends is Kodama of the East Tree. 4 green for a legendary creature, Spirit. It's a 6/6 with a reach. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser mana value from your hand onto the battlefield. This lets you cheat stuff out after you cheat stuff out. Plus, you can dump your hand onto the battlefield so your opponents can then board wipe you into oblivion, right? But that's Commander, buddy. I love this card, the Bramble Sovereign. You can get a little extra juice for 2 mana with the old Bramble Sovereign, dude. Double up on ETB effects and make a bunch of tokens. This thing is only about $2 as well, and you're not going to be starved for mana in this green deck. Then you might want to stick in some Monarch cards. The old Regal Behemoth here just got reprinted. 4 green for a dinosaur. It's a 5/5 with tramp stance. Whenever Regal Behemoth enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch, buddy. You can roleplay as Meghan Markle all day long. Whenever you tap a land for mana while you're the Monarch, add an additional mana of any color. This guy's only about $1 right now, man. Great card to cheat out and can lead to some big mana scenarios. Want to know who else is $2? This guy, the Woodland Bellower. 4 green for a creature beast. It's a 6/5. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a non-legendary green creature card with mana value 3 or less. You can go get Reclamation Sage, buddy. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. You can also get Eternal Witness. You can stack your removal with creature-based effects too. Come on, dude, you got the acidic slime out there. You got bigger beasts like Terastodon. I have some acidic slime at the base of my shower, dude. I'm gonna spray it with bleach. And listen, man, I know you guys are out there in the world. You're doing things, you're making stuff happen, you're making moves on the street, dude. But you don't have Soul of the Harvest in your deck, and you should. It's 4 green for a creature elemental with trample. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. This is a big old 6/6, man. People sleep on this card all the time, but this is kind of what makes these green creature-based decks work. And it's enter the battlefield effect, so you don't have to worry about casting it and all that fun stuff. These things are amazing, dude. So this guy, I like it a lot. Pretty neat commander, generically powerful with some really neat mechanics. I like the whole idea. I like the fact that this functions as a commander deck you can hand to newer players and let them go nuts at a mid-power table. I put together a fairly budget deck as proof of concept, and guess what? It vomits out creatures so well that you're going to need 2 playmats, brother. It's fun with lots of ETB effects and triggers. I like the fact that it's also pretty rad in a deck that wants beefy creatures like Xenagos. This thing is an all-star. Helps you get a board presence and blockers for whatever crackback you run into, and it's ramping you up too, man. Anyways, listen, thanks for watching, guys. This is Nicky G from Better Commander signing off.